The picture you are seeing on the screen, of course, is a video I will allow you to watch shortly that capture moment the authorities arrested hundreds of bandits in Niger State. Of course, looking at the numbers, you can clearly see from the picture, though you watch the video shortly, it's going to show that these people are desperately in serious business. It's going to show that these people are recruiting in their numbers. But the question is, which prison will contain this number of bandits? And which court room will contain them for prosecution? Because from what we understand, it's going to show that the government need to do more work in terms of apprehending these miscreants, these criminals, and bringing them to book. I will allow you watch the video shortly, but let me quickly give you updates about success recorded by the authorities and the locals sequel to the fight against insurgency, against banditry in Kwara State and some other part of the country. This one is coming from The Punch, of course, a tweet. This one is saying, more Kwara adoptees rescued. Military sustained pressure on bandits. Of course, a welcome development indeed from Kwara State. You understand that Kwara have witnessed serious level of banditry in the country of late, and we hope and pray that the authorities will gain upper hand against the bandits. Let us look at this one as well, coming from a 200 that goes by the name of Becky. He said, brave youths from Lade and Dakani, Patigi local government area captured 7 suspected bandits. He said 3 while buying fuel and 4 others hiding in the bush with weapons. He said they have handed them over to the Nigerian army in Patigi. He said big respect to our courageous youths protecting Kwara. Of course, I must say kudos to those people that did this great job. We understand that the locals in Kwara State are rising to the occasion to do the needful. Let me bring this last one so that we go straight into that video. This one is saying, of course, from Sahara Reporters. He's saying, Nigerian troops arrest notorious gun runner, recover over 1,200 rounds of ammunition in Kaduna. This one came from Sahara Reporters. Of course, it came from Sahara Reporters. But let us dive into the video and get a sense of what the video is talking about. Watch and do a personal self-appraisal for yourself as we come back to further this conversation.
Your younger brother. Your last number. I'll profile you. I will finish the one. Okay. 100 for that. I'm not even keep quiet.
Where that pressman?
Only him will carry himself come back.
Go to the press. See, go that place. See, get what you in the snap. The other camp, see, get what you in the snap.
So they don't snap. They don't snap.
Kai, come out for this thing.
If you like, they do like school inside bush.
Come up for that road. Shift. Carry yourself. Open that road. Open the road like this. Straight. If I meet you there. Open am. Good anya. Just open am. Carry yourself. Come up for road. Open am like this. Straight.
You say move like this. Straight line. Enter the guy. Make yourself. Go. Fulani Daji. Fulani Daji. Where Baba? Baba? Baba kaje Fulani Taraba Daji. He said no town, in a bush.
So having watched the video, and of course, seeing the number of bandits involved, you got to show that the government need to do more work. You got to show that the authorities need to do more work, because what is making people sign on to this banditry is another question that the government need to ask and get answers to. And the angle of foreigners coming here in form of bandits need to be addressed, because as far as I'm concerned, the society must be protected. The 3 tiers of government, the federal, the state, and local governments, have a responsibility to protect lives and property, because it's incumbent on them to do so. But the question is, these foreigners who come into the country to wreak havoc and leverage on our porous border, I quite agree that we have porous border, but I want to say that the porous border is not an excuse for the level of crime and criminality we are seeing, because it behoves on the government to go ahead, possess monopoly of currency power, to police every inch of Nigerian territorial integrity. It is irrespective of whether I have porous border or not, it behoves on government to police every inch of Nigerian territorial integrity. That is where the government need to be up and doing. We understand that the government has since placed order for about 50 fighter jets, a welcome development indeed. But I'm saying that once we get the delivery of those 50 fighter jets, I want to believe that it's going to be a game changer in terms of the ability of the armed forces, particularly the Air Force, to decimate bandits, terrorists, criminals, non-state actors. Because as far as I'm concerned, the current trajectory of negotiation or peace deal with bandits is not sustainable, is not encouraging, and it is unacceptable. It's unacceptable because you are embodying the bandits. Because we can clearly see some video that often go viral recently, where the bandits will come out of their enclaves, out of their abodes, fully armed, on motorcycles and maybe on foot, as the case may be. And the worrisome part of it is that they come, do the negotiation, enter into those PDs, and go back into their abodes fully armed. So I must say that the society is not safe as long as the bandits still have those arms in their possession. Because I understand that in the past, under the last administration of Muhammadu Buhari, in Taraba State to be precise, when the military was, of course, trying to disarm the people in the society, I could remember that when they got to Taraba State to be precise, and they had conversation with the then governor, Dan Shako, He told the military pointedly that if you want to disarm law-abiding citizens, first of all, go and disarm bandits who are in the bushes. Because you cannot disarm ordinary citizens who are law-abiding. At the end of the day, you make them vulnerable to be attacked by the bandits. I'm not saying, don't get it twisted, I'm not saying Nigerians should bear arms illegally. You understand that it is only the police, the army, the navy, the air force, the Nigerian Civil Defense Corps, of course, those government-approved agencies, paramilitary agencies, that have the legal right to bear arms. However, I'm saying that we should get to a point, and I think this is even keyed into the federal government initiative of community-based policing, talking about the forest guard, that we should get to a point where these security arrangements at the local level, at the state level, should be empowered to bear arms, though under the supervision of the authorities, to ensure that they don't abuse it. Because I understand that if you give arms to people without proper coordination, abuse is imminent. But we must get to the point where we start looking in that direction. We understand that under the last administration of Muhammadu Buhari, when we had Amateku in place in southwestern part of the country, of course, we understand that Amateku is a creation of Act of State House of Assembly in the southwestern part of the country. But even at that, the then government of Muhammadu Buhari never allowed Amateku to be officially, because we understand that there is an end-user certificate that comes from the Office of National Security Advisor that enables you to procure and deploy arms. And the government of Muhammadu Buhari was not willing to allow such. The then governor of Ondo State, Akere Dolumi, so rest in peace, was always along ahead with the then government of Muhammadu Buhari. Because according to him, you cannot allow civilian JTF in the north to be armed and say Amateku, that is a creation of Act of State House of Assembly in southwestern part of the country, should not be armed. But I think we have already gone past that stage, because I have a situation where currently the president, talking about Senator Ahmed Bola Tinubu, have come out clearly to say that they are going to empower forest guards. And that at some point, he's even looking at alliance state police. I must say that we're already getting to that stage, because looking at the situation in Kwara State, a situation where communities are being sacked by bandits. People are being sacked from their ancestral homes. People are living in droves. I must say that we have gotten to the stage of that proper state policing. However, the process of deploying the arm must be coordinated by the authorities at the federal level to ensure that they do not abuse it. But let me quickly say one thing here, that the fear of federal government that if you allow state police, that it will lead to secession and abuse. I must say that it can be controlled. Because you cannot, because of fear, I must say that the fear of abuse and maybe secession may be a genuine one on the part of federal government, but you cannot say because of fear of abuse that you will not give it a trial. Because life is being wasted on a daily basis in those areas where, of course, this issue of banditry is very high. Talking about Zamfara, Kwara, Katsina, even Plateau, Kaduna, because of Southern Kaduna. So the question is, the governors on their own parts have a pivotal role to play, because the constitution on its own has given them that responsibility to protect lives and property within their jurisdiction. Because the governor of a state goes by the name of the governor and the chief security officer of the state. So from that point of view, the constitution already puts the responsibility of protecting lives and property on the shoulders of the governors. However, I've been making an advocate on behalf of the governors, because I understand that the governors do not command, of course, the security architecture in their respective states. Because we understand that the command and control system of Nigerian security architecture currently floats from the presidency through the Office of National Security Advisor down to the grassroots. I'm not saying we should jettison that position, but I'm saying that we should have state police side by side with the federal police. So that the governor of a state do not just go by the name of the governor and the chief security officer of the state. That going forward, the governor of a state should have what it takes to command and control the security architecture in state into operation. I must say that the situation, or rather the news that came from the Zamfara State governor recently talking about his inability to command the security architecture in his state to action is worrisome. And because I understand that he made it very clear that his position as a governor, that he has been able to acquire some level of technology to enable him to know the movement and location of bandits. Hence, he lamented about his inability to command the security architecture into operation. I understand why. Because we understand that the commissioner of the state, the commissioner of police in a state is not answerable and takes order from the governor of a state. The director general of DSS, the director of DSS in a state doesn't take order from the governor. They all take order from their boss in Abuja. For instance, the commissioner of police in a state reports directly to the IG, Inspector General of Police. The director of DSS in a state reports directly to the Director General of DSS in Abuja. And they all in turn reports to maybe the Chief of Defense Staff, who in turn report to the National Security Advisor. Of course, the National Security Advisor is answerable to Mr. President. I'm not saying we should jettison that arrangement or that approach. But let us have state police to address these issues of this issue of militias that have taken over most villages, most bushes, most forests in the states. But as far as I'm concerned, life is sacrosanct and life must be protected. Because even if you say these bandits are foreigners who come from different parts of the world, and somebody will be somewhere in Nigeria advocating that they should give them an amnesty, the federal government should not use kinetic approach to fight them. So you begin to wonder, begin to ask, foreigners who are even alien to this country, come here, kidnap people, maim, rape, ransom being paid, and somebody is somewhere saying federal government should not use kinetic approach to fight them. I'll say that if there's something more than kinetic approach, that is what they deserve. These are people who do not have mercy for people, and as such, I think and believe that they do not deserve any mercy from the government and even from Nigerians, because they maim, kill at will. We cannot forget in a hurry the havoc and trauma the likes of Toji Bello, Adaleru, Akwashi that operates in the Faskari local government area of Kaduna State give or make Nigerians to pass through. But the essence of talking about how to keep Nigeria and Nigerians safe cannot be emphasized. I must let you go at this point, but let us hope that the government, talking about the three tiers of government, need to synergize to protect lives and property of Nigerians for us to have a peaceful environment. I must say, very thank you for your time. This is Settlement and I'm Samatu.